Haven't seen it, you should. New tier sets coming in 9.2 Season 3 Shadowlands, and we got the Blood Death Knight one up first. We're going to take a look at all 6 tank ones, talk about them in detail. Then I'm going to try to go through every other one and just give my quick opinion on it, because I feel like there's a lot to unpack here. So we're going to start with the Blood DK one, and I have a lot to say about this. Endless Rune Waltz. So it's 2 and 4 set. Okay, if you've never played the game when there was a tier set, effectively all it is if you have 2 of the same items in that combination, you'll get the power of the 2 set, and if you have 4, you'll get the power of the 4. So typically the way it's played was there was almost never a time when you ignored the 2 or 4 set, but in Legion there was the weird situation where you could actually have the 4 set of the one raid and the 2 set of the previous raid. So that's obviously not happening, but just something to keep in mind. Might be a little bit of a trickery here. But anyway, let's talk about it. Hard Strike increases your strength by 1% and the duration of Dancing Rune Weapon by 0.5 seconds, persisting for 10 seconds after Dancing Rune Weapon ends. So I don't fully, I mean, the wording is a little strange to me. Does that mean that that only happens when I'm using Dancing Rune Weapon? I mean, it's not testable right now, so I don't fully know. But even without knowing that, I still think that this is the best set bonus for any tank. And I'm going to say it's mostly the 4 set, really. But regardless, my immediate question, and if anybody has an answer, I don't know how anybody would, but if anybody actually knows and is confident saying so, feel free to answer. But if this, I assume this doesn't work outside of Dancing Rune Weapon, the whole Heart Strike thing, right? So yeah, you use Dancing Rune Weapon, 1% strength every time, and it extends the duration. So that's one of my favorite things from BFA. It's called Eternal Rune Weapon, and I think it was actually the same thing, right? It was whenever you used a rune, it extended Dancing Rune. So the question again is, does Hard Strike from Dancing Rune Weapon count? I assume no, because don't forget, Dancing Rune Weapon gives you an extra Heart Strike. Every time you Heart Strike, the Dancing Rune Weapon also does that. Historically, though, the Blood Plague from the Dancing Rune Weapon would usually just heal the Dancing Rune Weapon and not you. So I'm still a little cloudy on how that might work. But yeah, I mean, it could be even stronger than it sounds regardless. Obviously, even like 2 or 3 extra seconds on Dancing Rune Weapon would be huge, considering, you know, some of the situations we have right now in Shadowlands. But also persists for 10 seconds after Dancing Rune Weapon ends, meaning that presumably the duration of Dancing Rune Weapon doesn't somehow get extended after it ends. I don't know what that part would be, but I guess we're talking about just probably what happens is the Heart Strike, you get a flat amount of strength afterwards, and then that just stays with you 10 seconds afterwards. The Heart Strike thing doesn't continue onward for those 10 seconds. But regardless, considering how I'm unsure of the 2 set, and I'm still saying this is the best total set bonus, it's all because of the 4 set. Parrying an attack causes your weapon to lash out, hard striking your attacker. Dancing Rune Weapon now summons 2 rune weapons. I mean, this is like basically exactly what we needed. If you didn't play in Legion, there was another thing in the artifact that gave you a second rune weapon. So this was incredibly bursty. And Dancing Rune Weapon is already potentially a good burst DPS. Like, Blood DK's damage is not that bad inside of Dancing Rune Weapon. It's just like the CD doesn't really do, it's not like Elysian Decree or anything. It's like not that major of an offensive CD. It's a very versatile CD. So bringing back Eternal Rune Weapon and the double Rune Weapon from Legion, it's like, God, this is awesome. The only way it could be any better is if it was Umbilicus Eternus, which was one of my favorite spells ever. But, this is actually really, 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 really cool. And it's not only just cool, like, on paper, it's also insanely good for the way I've been playing my Death Knight. Like, this is literally tailored to the way I play my Death Knight. I'm already very used to using Heart Strike in certain windows very accurately, thanks to Night Fae and also with Kyrian now. And I'm also been using Crimson Rune the whole time, ever since 905 when they buffed it. And I think even before that, I was using it for Necrotic Week. So this is now, so what's the weird part about this? Seemingly it's going to turn Dancing Rune weapons, it's going to turn Crimson Rune into like a mandatory pick. So this sounds like everything that we're going to see here. This sounds like this could really work well with a double legendary concept that didn't require the Covenant one. And I don't know. I don't think they're going to be talked out of that, but maybe it could be something that they consider. Because I would love to have Dancing Rune Weapon is just the one I always have on in all content. But like realistically, I don't know. You know, Dancing Rune Weapon's not very good in raids or in a circumstance where you're not actually getting meleeed very often. So, and you know, even in 5-mans, it could be bad at times. So, it's interesting. I'm not really sure, you know, how other people feel about it, but I think this is the strongest of the 6 because it does exactly what I need. You know, first of all, we're gonna have if I am actually Night Fae with the Night Fae legendary and Dancing Rune Weapon on with the strength buff from Death's Due and this, I'm gonna have like 50% more strength or something, right? I mean, like it's ridiculous, right? Because Death's Due gives you extra strength. The Covenant, the legendary gives you extra strength with Death's Due, and then this as well. And I assume it's just like an additive 1% strength. I don't think it's like some kind of multiplicative thing, right? But anyway, I can't even imagine. That's just ridiculous on its own. And then basically, I have about like 49-ish, maybe like about 50-ish second Dancing Rune Weapons if you're full uptime in combat. So that's, you know, I mean, this is ridiculous. Parrying attack causes your weapon to lash out, hard striking your attacker. It's like, well, what the hell are you even talking about? What is that going to give me the resource too? And if so, does that give me the strength? Like these questions I don't have answers to, but it's just unfathomable how good this is. This has got to be also the most synergistic one I've read as well. I mean, it's insane synergy. I feel like this could be like a game breaking thing. Honestly, it could be so interesting. It might be the most fun thing that has ever existed for Blood DK. So let's move on for now. And we're going to read all the tank ones, like I said, first. So Protection, Paladin, tier set bonuses. Casting Shield of the Righteous is a 2-set. Increases your block chance by 4% for 15 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Okay, that's very interesting. And then the 4-set is blocking an attack has a 33% chance to cast Judgment at your attacker. So I think this one is probably going to be one of the best ones. Like, Prop Alley is going to be an incredibly good place in Season 3. Because if they're playing Kyrian, it doesn't even matter. I mean, one way or the other, their Covenant legendaries are all excellent. So Blood DK's Covenant legendaries aren't that great. But the Kyrian one, for Prop Paladin, is insane. Like, it's already the best legendary, right? So having that plus another legendary is going to turn them into monsters. And then again, they have another ridiculous... I mean, this is pretty cool, man. Casting Shield of the Righteous increases your block chance by 4%, stacking up to 3 times. So I quite like that, man. I mean, block is something that I would love to see more of in the game. Like plate, you know, tanks in general have been used to be like really about passive mitigation, and you know, I guess it's Blood DK mostly that's fallen away. But I love the concept here. I think this is very you know, it makes a lot of sense for a prop pally to have this legendary or this 2-set and 4-set. And it just sounds like this is going to be ridiculous. I mean, and just tell me for sure, does Judgment give you a holy power as a prop paladin? I think the answer is no. I think it's only ret, right? But regardless, this is just nonsense. I mean, this is actually ridiculous. And it makes me want, but the question here, my main question here with this one specifically is what happens if you're not a prop paladin? Because you can do all of those things as a non-prop paladin, right? Like a holy paladin could cast Shield of the Righteous, increase your block chance, and then block an attack in like maybe like PvP or soloing or something. I wonder how that works. That's probably going to be one of the numerically strongest ones, but it's not. It doesn't seem very good defensively, but it's very interesting. Okay, now this one is absolutely, I mean, another crazy one. Casting Barkskin causes you to go berserk for 4 seconds. While berserked, you radiate. That's a 4-set now. Radiate 45% of attack power cosmic damage to nearby enemies and heal yourself for 61% of attack power every 1 second. Now, Berserk is already a spell that they have. It gets turned into, I can't remember the names of these things, but it gets turned into a massive CD with a talent. So that's kind of the big, that's their big CD, and it's why they do so much damage and self-healing. That CD, Incarnation, that's it. It's ridiculous. And 99% sure that is going to count because Berserk is just, without Incarnation, Berserk is what you have instead. It's just way shorter. So That's ridiculous. I mean, everybody knows that they're really, 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 really powerful inside that CD. Probably the most powerful CD that's maybe ever existed for a tank. So the fact that it's also now going to be a even bigger damage buff and an even bigger healing buff, like it's actually kind of superfluous. They don't need the healing, right? I mean, unless you're fighting a single target, that healing is going to be completely overhealed. But yeah, this is actually kind of crazy, and their niche gets stronger, right? So, you know, Blood DK's getting evened out with theirs, but so far the other two have gotten their niche made even stronger. Okay, so Demon Hunter, this one Jix was talking a lot about. He didn't seem to be too optimistic about it, so maybe he'll comment down below, but we'll just read it and I'll give my thoughts. Damage dealt by Immolation Aura has a 10% chance to generate a lesser soul fragment. And if I remember correctly, he was saying that he doesn't feel like he can even use the amount of soul fragments he has now at times. And I could kind of understand where that's coming from. It kind of sounds to me like if I used Blood Boil and it generated runic power, that sounds similar to me. The similar situations. Like, I don't need that. I don't need more runic power. Maybe he feels that same way. I don't really know. Anyway, consuming a lesser soul fragment has a 100% chance to grant you 2 seconds of Immolation Aura, or extend an existing Immolation Aura. So that to me is where it gets very interesting, because so again, 99% sure that even if you don't need the soul fragments, they still get consumed, right? So if you're at 100% health, you summon a 6th soul fragment, it just immediately consumes another one, right? That's how it works. Even if you're not even if you have 0% health needed. So if that's the case, you're basically just going to have Immolation Aura 100% of the content, right? I mean, I don't see how that won't be the case. That sounds fucking awesome. Immolation Aura is probably it's one of the most interesting spells I think that's ever existed. And I love the concept of it. So yeah, that's kind of neat. I mean, I love the concept of it, but Jix was basically saying it does nothing to help them defensively. And I can see why, because it's, you know, that strikes me as just like gaining more runic power. So it's like, well, that doesn't really help me defensively immediately. Whereas the other three that we've read, well, at least the Bear and the Blood DK one are insanely like oriented for defense, right? Like that is actually insane. So it's, yeah, I don't know what this does for Demon Hunter, but anyway, he might comment on that. So maybe you read that. Okay, so Prot Warrior. This one is probably my least favorite one. Consuming 30 range grants a stack of Outburst. Upon reaching 8 stacks of Outburst, your next Shield Slam or Thunderclap are 200% more effective, or your next Ignore Pain is 50% more effective. Avatar increases your damage dealt by an additional 10% and decreases damage taken by 10%. And Avatar instantly grants 8 stacks of Outburst. So I'll tell you very truthfully, the reason I haven't played Prot Warrior at all this expansion, and I didn't play it at all last expansion either, is because it's like this offense first tank, and it's just like, and I know you could say that maybe about even Vengeance and Prot Pally too, but I feel like they have like enough like niche and utility outside of that to be more than that. But this just feels like this is what a warrior is, and I don't like this at all. This just I don't like this at all. The fact that I mean, so 50% more Ignore Pain every 8 stacks. I mean, first of all, it's consuming 30 rage, which I assume is going to happen somewhat frequently. I don't actually know how frequently that's going to happen, but I'd imagine it's going to happen, you know, I don't know. Let me know if anybody has a good like numerical way to look at that. But they just get rid of this, man. Honestly, like, come on, can we stop this nonsense here with this offense focus? Like, I just don't really get this. At least the other ones are a little bit more balanced in the fact that they'll do some offense and defense. I just don't like this about Warrior at all. And then this is cool though. You know, Avatar is obviously a major offensive spell, so buffing that by another 10%, it's whatever. I don't really care. But I like that they're also adding a little bit of a defensive component to it. But again, that's just, you know, anger management. Actually, anger management doesn't impact Avatar nowadays, right? Is that right? So I think this is the worst one. I know maybe others will disagree, but this is just dumb. I just don't really like this. I think they really need to go back to the drawing board on this. Can't they make it a little bit more like, I don't know, man. There's got to be like think about the Paladin one, right? The Paladin one is so cool. It's about blocking. This is like such a core fundamental part of being a prop Paladin, right? Blocking has always been a core fundamental part of being a prop Paladin. But Warrior is actually a better block tank than Paladin. So it's like, why can't you come up with something like that, man? Why, maybe ignore pain. You can focus on that. Maybe something to do with armor, bladed armor. You know, I used to love that about Prot Warrior when they had the more armor they had, the more damage they would do. It's like, come on, man, just come up with something that's not just do fucking offense. It's just so annoying. I just don't like that at all about that tank. But anyway, okay, so this was actually the first one they posted. It seems a little weird the way it's written. But anyway, targets ignited by your breath of fire deal an additional 4% less damage to you. So that's just going to be up 100% of the time, right? That might end up being the most powerful one outright because it's just 100% uptime, 4% damage reduction. It's pretty big. But Breath of Fire also empowers your next Tiger Palm or Blackout Kick, increasing shuffle duration and brew cooldown reduction by 100%. But I think what that means is when you use Tiger Palm, it's supposed to reduce the brew cooldown, right? So whatever it does, like 2 seconds or something like that, now it's going to be 4 seconds. So it sounds powerful on paper, but I don't think it's that good. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't really know how the brews situation has worked this expansion, because I know in last expansion it was like, that was crucial to them being good. But now it seems like they really shifted away from all. I mean, I'm sure it's still important, but anyway, I think the 2-set might actually be the strongest one, period. The thing is, it does no offense, and it's like, can't you do this for Warrior? Like, it seems so obvious to me. You know what I mean? It seems so obvious to me, and both of them actually don't do any offense, right? And that's, I mean, maybe that ends up sucking for Brewmaster because the other ones all do some sort of offense. Like, I mean, the Blood DK one is going to do a lot of offense. I mean, it's going to increase my strength, which is both offense and defense. And this whole Heart Strike lashing out thing, I assume, is going to be excellent. But yeah, I don't really know how much offense that's going to contribute. But certainly it's going to do more than this, which is actually 0 offense. So I don't know, they just don't really seem commensurate with what they're going for. But that's all the tank ones. So let's quickly go through all the other ones. Okay, I'm just going to read them and give my initial thoughts because I don't actually know anything about any of the other specs. Really, I mean, honestly. We'll take a look at Holy Pally, maybe. Okay, Frost DK. Remorseless Winter grants 8% critical strike while active. So very basic, but I know Remorseless Winter is like one of the main spells, especially in 5-man. So, I mean, that's just going to be numerically very good, I guess. Consuming Killing Machine fires a glacial advance through your target. Now that's fucking awesome. I love stuff like this. Legendaries could do it. Tier sets can do it just as well. I love when there's class spells that you have, and that's a talent, I'm pretty sure. Glacial Advance. I love that when there's class spells that you have that you don't even have to use to have value from. And to just see them, it's just so freaking cool. I love that kind of stuff. That's always been one of my favorite things about WoW. Customization, character customization. Okay, and Holy's 2-set. Every 5 Clawing Shadows or Scourge Strikes, cast Soul Reaper on your target. Soul Reaper grants your pet 20% attack speed. And currently Soul Reaper is like an execute, right? So that works even when it's not in execute range. I don't fully understand that, but that's interesting. And then whenever Soul Reaper's secondary effect triggers, summons an army of the dead ghoul. And I don't know what Soul Reaper's secondary effect trigger is, but I think it has something to do, again, with the execute phase, right? Actually, I think Soul Reaper, you can actually... Let me just quickly look at this. I think you can use Soul Reaper... That's not what we're looking for. I think you can use Soul Reaper outside of execute range, but it just does something else, and that must be the secondary effect. Yeah, there we go. After 5 seconds, if the target is below 35% health, this effect will explode. Yeah, okay. So that 4-set is actually only going to be good at all. Like, it's not going to do anything outside of... The 4-set literally does nothing outside of execute phase, which is... And people were saying, like, oh, you know, that's not good, but it's like... I like that. I think that's a cool niche. It's going to probably be shit 5-man zone, unfortunately. But I guess we'll see. Okay, Paladin. Holy Paladin. It's the only really other spec I play actively right now. Casting Word of Glory causes your next Light of Dawn to heal for 50% more and cast twice. Cannot occur more often than once per 30 seconds. I hate that. That's honestly awful. And it's probably going to be good for raiding, but I don't like that at all. Like, I don't know why they're trying to... It's almost like trying to, like, force you into using a spell you don't want to use, because nobody wants to use Light of Dawn in 5-mans. So that 2-set's either completely useless or forcing you to spend Holy Power on something that you don't necessarily want, but I guess double, so it's going to basically be like 100% healing increase to Light of Dawn, which I don't know. I guess that makes it interesting, but that does not interest me whatsoever. Each target hit by Light of Dawn has a 10%, 100% increase chance to reduce the remaining cooldown of Avenging Wrath. Now that's a lot more interesting. So yeah, I mean, both of them together are pretty cool. The two sets, shit. I mean, I don't like it at all. I would never even, I think if I only had the two set, I probably wouldn't even use that. I guess you'd have to because it'd be numerically good, but yeah, I don't know. That's pretty cool. Avenging Wrath CD being reduced. That's quite cool. So not really what I would want to see from Holy Pally, but it's interesting. Okay, Rep Paladin. Now this one's an interesting one. When you benefit from Art of War, you gain Seraphim for 2 seconds. Now that's fucking cool. That is quite cool. 2 seconds though, it's like, I don't know. I never like that when there's super short periods of time, but it looks awesome. Seraphim's so cool looking, so whatever. And then Art of War has a 50% chance to reduce the cooldown on Wake of Ashes instead of Blade of Justice. I mean, is that a good thing? I think that's ridiculous, right? That sounds ridiculous to me. Because Wake of Ashes, first of all, it does a fair amount of AoE damage, but also gives you a bunch of holy power. Where Blade of Justice, just a single target damage and gives you just, 2 holy powers. So it's like, wow, really freaking cool. Sounds awesome. I mean, really good. These Paladin ones, these two at least, feel exactly like what I want out of a Paladin set. Okay, Druid, Feral Druid. We'll start with balance, actually. Entering Lunar Eclipse creates a Fury of a Loon at 25% effectiveness that follows your current target. So another one like the Frost DK where you just get a spell that's a talent. So that's kind of cool. While in an eclipse, the cost of Star Surge and Starfall is reduced by 20%. So that sounds like that's going to be really good. I don't fully know how Balanced Druid operates, but that's their main 2 damage spenders or whatever. So pretty good. Feral Druid. Okay, each combo point spent reduces the cooldown of Incarnation, King of the Jungle, or Berserk by 0.5 seconds. Now, it's weird that they specify that. That's a little confusing because they don't specify Incarnation here. So hopefully that's not indicative of a problem, but okay, it's basically the exact same. I mean, nothing special there. When Berserk ends, you lacerate all nearby enemies, dealing 700% of attack power. That's a lot. So that is a lot. They actually are getting a massive AoE, seemingly. A massive AoE. Considering that is probably a 3-minute CD and you spend combo points constantly, so it's probably going to be down to like a 2 or under. It's probably going to reduce it by like a minute or so. That sounds like that could actually be insanely good in 5-mans. How about that? Resto Druid. Swiftman heals an additional spell power amount for each periodic healing effect on that target. So I don't think that's... It's not what it used to be. People used to use the double rejuve talent. I still would use that today. I love that talent. One of my favorite talents as a healer. But I don't know. It's probably still good. And then the 4 set is actually really good. Swiftman heals 4 nearby allies for 25% of its healing done. That's awesome. I love that. Not really the rest of Druid flavor I would have liked to see, though, unfortunately. But it's cool. We'll look at the other set. Havoc here. D. We love D. Increases Blade Dance and Death Sweep damage by 20%. That's Havoc Demon Hunter in a nutshell right there. Every 5th Blade Dance or Death Sweep instantly refunds its own cooldown and cost. Casting this empowered Blade Dance or Death Sweep has a 15% chance to instantly refund its own cooldown and cost. That is pretty fucking insane, actually. I hadn't read that until right now. So you're going to just spam Death Sweep or Blade Dance. Death Sweep's the one when you're in Metamorphosis, right? So you're just going to spam Blade Dance, potentially. I mean, it's pretty fucking cool, actually. I love that. That was one of my favorite legendaries with Vengeance, as well as the free Fell Breath thing, whatever that is. Okay, Arms Warrior. Pile on. Every 75 range consumed, increase the effectiveness of your next Colossus Smash or Warbreaker. Okay, that's just another one of those that is just going to be like a flat, like that numerically, that's the only thing that would be interesting about it. But then increases the duration of your Colossal Smash and Warbreaker by 3 seconds. So these are the same spell, right? And it's a talent that modifies it, I think. And Colossal Smash makes you do more damage inside that window. That was like the original kind of mini burst window, min-maxing back in Cataclysm. They added Colossal Smash. Pretty cool spell. Never really liked it, but I like the concept. Okay, and Fury, Raging Blow, 20% chance to grant Recklessness for 4 seconds. I like that. Raging Blow also deals 15% increased damage and gains an additional charge. Now that is cool. Almost feels like it should be the 2 set though, and I think originally they were confused if this was a 2, this was a 2, or this was a 4, or what, I don't know, but I think that should be the 2 set, doesn't it feel that way? But it's kind of cool, because now you're going to be spamming Raging Blow, I guess, and then you'll get a bunch of Recklessness. I don't know if it extends it, if you get another proc. Don't know how that works. Next up, we'll look at Windwalker, or Mistweaver first. Essence Font residual healing effect lasts an additional 2 seconds. Don't know anything about that. Sounds interesting. Sounds kind of just, again, pretty basic. Drinking Thunder Focus Tea summons a Progenitor Rune of Healing, increasing all healing dealt while inside its bounds by 123. That's a very small amount. But I love the concept. Anything like that, anytime where there's something new, a little fancy, something on the ground, something cool that you'll notice. I love that about set bonuses. Okay, the Windwalker one might be one of the strongest ones for 5-mans that I've seen. Increases Fist of Fury damage by 40%, which is already, you know, not the strongest spell they have, but it's a good AoE spell, and it's one of their main spells. So it's a kind of boring, again, a pretty boring 2 set. But anyway, after 10 offensive abilities, your next 3 offensive abilities deal an additional 22% damage. Fuck you, honestly. Fuck, like legitimately. What the fuck are you doing? This spec is going to continue to get even stronger every patch, it seems. Kind of wild. So, yeah, Windwalker's already known for its insane AoE burst, and now it's going to get even stronger. So, cool. Okay, Shaman. This is an interesting one. These are 2 really cool ones. While your Storm Elemental or Fire Elemental is active, again, that's a talent that just replaces Fire Elemental, your Lava Burst deals 20% additional damage, and you gain Lava Surge every 8 seconds. Oh, wow. That's pretty fucking cool. But then you read the 4 set. Casting Lava Burst extends the duration of your Storm Elemental and Fire Elemental by 1.5 seconds. That's a long time considering some of the other ones we saw. If your Storm... Because think about that, right? The Blood DK one was 0.1 or 0.5 seconds, right? Yeah, 0.5 seconds. So the difference here with Shaman, it sounds like they're trying to make this up 100% of the time. Like, and it's easy to do that. If you just make it longer than it could possibly ever fall off, then it's like that's what they're trying to accomplish, right? So anyway, if your Storm Elemental or Fire Elemental is not active, spending Maelstrom has a 20% chance to reduce its remaining cooldown by 10 seconds instead. So that's like literally going to be like probably like 90% uptime on that Fire Elemental guy. He's a cool little guy, to be honest. So, Enhancement Enchantment Shaman, Storm Spirit. Spending Maelstrom weapon has 3% chance per stack to summon a Feral Spirit for 9 seconds. I love that. Fucking 9 seconds as well. That's so cool. Feral Spirit. Love the concept. One of my favorite things about Enhance. Your Feral Spirit's attacks have a 20% chance to trigger Stormbringer, resetting the cooldown of your Storm Strike. I don't know if that's a talent or it's just a passive. But that's just so fucking cool. I mean, it just sounds so cool. I really hope you're just going to have dozens of Feral Spirits out. I love the concept. I really, really, really love the concept. That's a cool one. Very thematic. Okay, Priest. I haven't looked at any of these other ones, really. Disciplined Priest. Casting Power Word, Shield, or Shadowman is a 15% chance to make your next cast of Shadowman have no cast time or cost. Okay, pretty boring, but it's probably going to be very powerful. Although Shadowman still, you know, whatever. Power of the Dark Side increases the effectiveness of Penance by an additional 40% and is triggered when Power Word Radiance is cast. Okay, I actually don't know what Power of the Dark Side is, so no idea. But that sounds like it's going to be pretty boring, but perhaps very powerful. The effectiveness of Penance, so that could be pretty powerful. Holy. Your holy words begin Divine Conversation, increasing the cooldown reduction of your next holy word affecting spell by 15 seconds. Holy shit, wow. Okay, so that's interesting. That's a big one there. Divine Conversation increases the effectiveness of your next holy word affecting spell by 35%. I honestly don't really understand the spec very well, so let's just move on. I think that sounds really powerful, but I don't know. Dark Thoughts has an additional 15% chance to trigger for each shadow damage over time effect on your target. Again, don't know what Dark Thoughts is. But that sounds very good considering how many of those you're going to have. And consuming a Dark Thought causes your shadow to animate. Your shadow follows you, dealing shadow damage to your target over the duration. Wow. I mean, that sounds like it's going to be cool if it's actually another little guy that follows you around. I love stuff like that. We'll see. Okay, Warlock. Now this is I did read these. These are fucking excellent. While Agony, Corruption, or Unstable Affliction are active, your Drain Soul has a 4% chance, and Shadow Ball has a 20% chance to make your next Malefic Rapture cost no soul shards and cast instantly. So I don't know what this means, but does this mean all 3 of these being active would then turn that into a 12% chance? Or, would that actually work that way? If so, that is ridiculous. I don't know, but that sounds ridiculous to me. And I love that if that is the case. Malefic Rapture's damage is also increased by 15%, and each cast extends the duration of these dots. So, like, if this is actually what I'm thinking it is, this is the best. I mean, this is such a fucking cool tier set. It's actually insane. So, if that's true, so think about this. If that's true, so every time your Drain Soul ticks, which ticks like probably like 5 times per channel, okay, it's a talent, or you can just use Shadow Bolt, 20%. I mean, I don't really know. Regardless, if it's true, let's just say, it's like an 80% chance or 60 or whatever, 60% chance with the Shadow Bolt, okay? Every time you cast a Shadow Bolt, you get a free Malefic Grasp that costs no soul shards and casts instantly. So then, after you do that, obviously does more damage, but also extends the dots you have up by 2 seconds. Then those dots continue to contribute to more casts. So you cast Shadow Bolt, Malefic Rapture, Shadow Bolt, Malefic Rapture, Shadow Bolt, Malefic Rapture, or whatever, Drain Soul, Malefic Rapture, blah, blah, blah. And you never have to apply the dots again. I mean, that would be so fucking cool. I don't know if it would ever work that way, but it almost sounds like if it's not long enough, like if it's like 1 second, it actually sucks. Because then you're sitting there wondering like, oh fuck, when do I refresh the dots? So I don't know, it's like, it sounds like it could be awesome, but it might suck. Okay, Demo, another cool one. Your Hand of Gul'dan has a 5% chance per soul shard to summon a Malicious Imp. When slain, Malicious Imp grants a soul shard will either deal fire damage to all nearby enemies of your implosion or deal it to your current target. That's so complicated, but man, that sounds very interesting to me. It's a mob that you have to kill, I guess? So similar like the Vengeance, the Demon Hunter Necrolord stuff, right? Kind of cool. I mean, again, we'll have to see what this imp looks like or does, but it sounds awesome. And then Call Dreadstalkers has a 100% chance to summon an additional Dreadstalker. Again, pretty boring, but sounds like that would be very powerful. Destro, though, this is the best one. I think this is actually the best one. Casting Rain of Fire or Chaos Bolt has a 20% chance to make the next cast of the other free. That sounds insanely good. 20%, relatively low, but that's insanely good. The problem is, when Rain of Fire or Chaos Bolt is freely cast, you summon an Infernal. Now, if you haven't ever looked at the Demo talents, they like Infernals. Let's put it that way. You can actually have like multiple Infernals out, and doesn't even seem like it'd be that hard, especially in AoE. The problem is, it starts to probably complicate the AoE rotation. I don't think it matters, because having an Infernal out is insanely good damage, regardless. But it probably starts to complicate the AoE rotation, because I think right now, if you had all those Infernals out, you would just have so many soul shards that you would just be spamming Rain of Fire the whole time, right? Well, now, unfortunately, you're going to have to use Chaos Bolt, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It just sounds weird on paper. But if you're in a normal circumstance where you're not just fighting 1,000 mobs and you're AoEing constantly, this sounds like the coolest one possible. And I wish they would just make this a talent, because I would use this. I would probably play Destro. I said it today on stream. Warlock seems like the most interesting, especially Destro Warlock. It's probably my favorite spec that I have no fucking interest in. It's just so goddamn cool, and I don't have any interest in Warlock, unfortunately. And then Mage, here we go, Arcane. These kind of suck, to be honest. Increases your arcane damage dealt to enemies affected by Touch of the Magi by 18%. That could be, come on, that's so boring. After consuming 8 clear casting stacks or whatever, your next Touch of the Magi is instant, incurs no cooldown, and lasts for 6 seconds. It's just so boring. That sounds so lame. This is interesting though. Increases the duration of combustion by 2 seconds. Wow. While combustion is active, you burn for 2% of your maximum health every 1 second. It's perfect. That's exactly what we want for Fire Mage. Causing your Fire Blast and Phoenix Flames to recharge 1% or 100% faster. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, those spells are obviously very useful and powerful. Increase the duration of combustion by 2 seconds. So, I mean, that could be huge. I mean, it just sounds like The fact that it's only 2 seconds, that must mean it's actually really good. Either that or it's completely shit. I assume it's really good. But I can't believe they're making combustion to make you take damage. Oh man, it's just anyway. You have to watch back. There's a time when this mage like complained about not being healed while he was. Anyway, okay. Frost Mage. Okay, while Icy Veins is active, your spells have a 25% chance to call down a Comet Storm on your target. That's so cool. The effect cannot occur more than once every 30 seconds, though. So that's only once. I don't know, once every 30 seconds. Like what? So that's Icy Veins is. So it's only once every time you use Icy Veins, I guess, right? Enemies hit by the Comet Storm take 2% increased damage from your frost spells up to 10% for 8 seconds. So, again, anytime you can get a spell that's a talent or something that you normally have to use in a very niche way to just be something that happens passively, I love that. That's actually my favorite thing in WoW. And they've done that a lot recently, so I'm ready to go. BM, your kill command critical strike. Kill command critical strike chance is increased by 15% for each stack of frenzy your pet has. And kill command critical strike hits increase the damage and cooldown reduction of your next Cobra shot by 40%. So very boring. It sounds very boring. And that was one of the first. That was actually the first one I think they announced. Blizzard itself announced this, and I was like, oh, those are all that boring. I don't know if I'll like it very much. Okay, marksman trick shots now also increase the damage of the affected shot by 30%. I don't know much about that. And spending 80 focus grants you 2 charges of trick shots. I think this has something to do with AoE. I don't actually have any idea, to be honest. Not gonna lie to you. When kill command resets, it has a 40% chance to make your next wildfire bomb incur no cooldown. Now I know a little bit about survival because I've been leveling a ranged survival hunter, which is actually very fun. And my god, would that be insanely powerful for the way I played my character. It resets all the fucking time. I mean, constantly. So you'd literally just be kill commanding wildfire bomb, bouncing back and forth like that. It'd be ridiculous. It's only a 40% chance, but it's very often. And then your wildfire bombs deal 30% additional damage, which is already an incredibly strong spell, I think. And this bonus is increased to 80% for bombs empowered by Mad Bombardier, which I have no idea what that is. Is that a legendary? I have no idea. Oh, no, wait, that's the name of this. Wait, what? Oh, I see. So this is just on all bombs, and this is on the ones that you get for free from the 2 set. Oh, okay. Mad Bombardier. Yeah, okay. I didn't even realize these things had names. Okay, so that's cool. That's a pretty good one. That survival one sounds very fun. And they're already a good AoE damage dealer, so this is literally going to be bonkers AoE, right? That's like their main AoE damage, I'm pretty sure. And the rogue ones, let's take a look. Assassination Rogue. Shiv's debuff causes your bleeds to gain 25% critical strike for 9 seconds. I mean, just the bleeds. So I guess that's a big part of their class. It's interesting. Vendetta causes poisons and bleeds on your target to expire 100% faster. I assume that means they tick 100% faster, which is a good thing. But, yeah, I don't fully understand much about Assassination Rogue. It's another spec that I know very, very little about. But doesn't sound like anything that I would be super excited for. Okay, Outlaw Rogue, 2 set. You are even less able to attack multiple mobs. That's all I hear fucking Sign talk about is the fact that it's still capped. Anyway, 2 set. Your main gauche has a 25% chance to fire a pistol shot. Main gauche. I don't know what that is, but okay. I mean, that sounds kind of cool. Pistol shot has a 50% chance to load a hidden bullet from your sleeves. Wow. Up to 6 times. After loading 6 bullets, Between the Eye has its cooldown reset and costs no energy. That's quite neat. I've always loved the pistol shot and Between the Eyes. Those are 2 of my favorite. Like, when I did the naked leveling challenge as an outlaw rogue, those were the spells that made it fun and made it very interesting. So that's pretty cool. Subtlety Rogue. Subtlety Rogue. Shadow Strike has a 20% chance to grant Shadow Blades for 5 seconds. Now that sounds like that'd be good. I don't know anything about these spells, but that sounds like it'd be very good. And your finishing moves have a 4% chance per combo point to cast Shadow Strike at up to 5 nearby enemies. So that, I mean, I don't know. That sounds like very powerful numerically. I don't know anything about it, but anyway, that's all of them. So again, I think the tank ones are all really good. I think Warrior's the only one I'm disappointed with. I don't fully, the whole Demon Hunter situation, I don't know much about it, but, I would say probably Blood DK Tier 1 number 1 in my hearts. Bear definitely number 2. Paladin is probably going to be ridiculously good offensively, and Monk just seems like it's kind of very one-dimensional. So I think it's going to be very good. Oh, that's not the right one. But anyway, I think it's going to be very good. But whether or not it's good for them and the way people play tanks nowadays, I don't know. So let me know what you think. I'm very I'll tell you, I cannot wait. I know it's, shitty. I feel like people are very I'm not very pleased with how many people are like overreacting about the set bonuses without literally even being able to equip them and try them. But I get it. Most of what you would need to know is on paper. But I will say I'm very fortunate that I like this one very much. Like, this could not be better. I mean, unless they literally added Umbilicus, but I think Umbilicus would actually be weaker than this. This is exactly what I want. It's exactly what I need. And it's a playstyle I've already confirmed and been playing for over a year, basically a year now. So I'm fucking all in, guys. Let me know what you think.